Let's do some learning at my expense and talk about a day trader truth that you need to be well aware of, whether you're a beginner or you have a lot of experience. Maybe if I can offer you up a reminder and just help you kind of clear some of those mental hurdles, then that is the goal of this video. Now, I'm not going to sit here and talk in theory. I want to walk you through an actual trade that happened, and then we'll go from there in terms of explaining what this is showing and hopefully what is reminding us, especially if you have experience and maybe you're feeling some frustrations, or maybe even more importantly, if you're just getting started, something that you need to understand is going to be happening to you. So we're going to walk through a real trade that I made, but I first want to just give you my mindset, the game plan going in. And what I wanted to do here was, I noticed that, and I'm just going to draw this as best I can, but there was, in technical terms, a level of resistance. And you can see that the price came up to this level, and it's a general area, so you can see once, twice, three times, 4 times, 5 times, 6 times, 7 times, 8 times, 9 times, 10 times, 11 times the price had come up to that area. And on this situation, I was thinking, you know what? I have an even better situation, because not only is there that red line, but notice the pink line right there, which on my chart represents the 200 period moving average. So I'm thinking, wow, I have this big old level of resistance as my number one. I have the 200 period moving average as my number 2 resistance. And I mean, this thing has rejected time and time again. So you know what? It is time to play this from the short side, meaning because the price has gone up there and then gotten rejected multiple times, I'm thinking, well, surely it's going to get rejected at least a little bit. So in other words, I want to go short. Short just means making money when prices go down. So if you've ever heard somebody saying they're shorting or going short, that's what that means. They think the price is going to go down, and you can make money from that, believe it or not. And I remember when I first heard about shorting, it like blew my mind. Wait, you can make money if prices go down?
You just blew my mind.
Yes, you can, and that's what I was trying to do here. And I was doing options, and the way you do that within the world of options is you would buy what's called a put option. But that's really besides the point of what I'm trying to illustrate in this video, but just a little background context. So I have bought a put already. You can see that right there. Got a put option because I think the price is going to go down. I mean, it's done it 11 times before, so why wouldn't it do it again? So let's get this plain and see how things play out. So you can see it does drop down a little bit. Okay, now I want to see this thing come down just a little bit more. And not like I need it to crash or anything like that. I just need it to come down a little bit more than what it has. I mean, it's happened 11 times before. So I finally decided to hop in. Again, just want to see the price come down. Let's continue to watch. So you can see it's coming back up. But again, still hasn't violated any of the resistances or anything like that. But now all of a sudden you can see it's still working that area, and now there is a clean cut breakout. Want to give it a little bit of wiggle room because you never know. Maybe this is just some sort of faulty breakout. And I'm thinking, oh, come on, give me a break. It's come down several times before. There's no way that I'm actually going to be that guy that, plays it right when it starts to break out. But you can see right there, just continues to break out, and I sell. And you can see right here, ended up taking a loss of $100 on that trade. So time and time again, it was rejected, and then when I decide to play it right there, oh look, the breakout happened. Have you ever been there before where you're like, okay, fine, I'll get into the trade because this event has happened time and time again, so let me just hop in, and then the time that you hop in is a time where the opposite of what you want to happen happens. As you just saw there, yes, it's happened to me. And you know what? It will happen to me over and over again because that is just part of trading. Now, the big difference here within the world of social media and YouTube is, will other people tell you and show you instances like this where, yeah, I look really dumb? Because I was literally that guy where when I finally made the move, the exact opposite happened. So I'm well aware that, yes, at my expense, I look really dumb. But you know what? That's going to happen. And hopefully other people show that. But if they don't, that doesn't take away from it because It happens. There's no holy grail strategy. Nothing is perfect. You're going to have those situations where you get what you think is a great entry point. I had that resistance. I had the 200 period moving average. I had a double whammy of resistance, yet it went against me and it ended up, causing me to lose money. But that's how it goes. But here's the problem and here's the risk that now starts to be created. And this is a big truth because, yes, trading is very mental, and the way the mental game works is this. There is something out there known as confirmation bias, and this works in tangent with recency effect, two psychological terms out there that you need to be aware of. And confirmation bias basically looks at, okay, you have some sort of bias, and then you just have a confirmation, so anything that confirms it, you're like, see, I told you so. And as traders, it's very easy to fall into the victim mentality where you sit there and say, well, as soon as I buy, the price is going to drop. Or as soon as I do this, then the exact opposite is going to happen. Have you ever said that to yourself? Have you ever heard somebody else say it? I mean, I know I've said it. At this point in my career, I say it more in joking fashion. But yeah, there is that, those periods where you just feel like the victim, where the market's out to get you. And whenever you do something, the exact opposite happens. And this is just completely false. Now, I want to make a distinction here, but you've got to realize that, are you sure your mind is being honest, or is there a confirmation bias? Because if there is a confirmation bias, then what follows is the recency effect, where you're going to really heavily weigh the most recent thing that's happened. And what does this matter to us as traders? Well, it's going to cause you to trade scared. It's going to cause you to second guess yourself. It's going to cause you to, potentially miss out on opportunities. So sure, if you miss out on something, you're not losing any money because you didn't take the trade, but that's where the opportunity cost comes into play, because you have lost money via just, missing out. You're costing yourself the opportunity. Again, have you ever been there where you sit there and you take a losing trade and you think, typical, I do this, and then the exact opposite happens. And then you watch a setup where you're like, yeah, that looks good, but I know as soon as I know as soon as I get in, what just happened to me is going to happen, because that's just how it works, right? There's a confirmation bias. And then you sit there and you watch the price go and do exactly what you thought you were going to do. And you're thinking, had I just taken that trade, it would have worked out fantastic. Yeah, exactly. That's the nasty little thing of confirmation bias and recency effect, and then it causes you to miss out on some very quality trades. With all that being said, this is why trading is so very hard, because there is the realistic possibility that maybe there is no confirmation bias. Maybe the bad stuff does happen to you a whole lot. Now, for me, it doesn't. And I'll explain why this next part is very important, but you have to acknowledge that, there could very well not be any confirmation bias. Maybe the reason why I'm feeling what I am is because it's the truth. Because, I get into trades and the opposite thing happens time and time again. And this is why this next part is very, very important. And that is, you've got to track data. You've got to know what's going on within your trading. You've got to have results, and results that you can organize in a very, very orderly way. And I'll put a link down below to this video, but this is where I map out data of over 509 of these exact trades that you just saw in this video. And what I use for that is TraderView, and I'll put a link down below. They are a great data tracking platform. They're offering a deal if you use them, so if you use that link. But even if you don't use them, you got to track your data somehow. Whether that's a spreadsheet or you use somebody like TraderView, you've got to know, is this confirmation bias? Am I just imagining this thing, or is it happening quite a bit? And in that video, if you go and watch it, you'll see that I have an 85% win rate. So when I sit there and say, with that trade, typical. I get in and then that happens. I play that resistance and that moving average, and then the price goes against me. Typical, that's what happens. It's like, wait a second. I can look at my data and say, well, actually, Clay, 85% of the time, you're okay. So no, Clay, you're not the victim. No, Clay, you're not, the markets aren't out to get you. And I can make that claim with certainty. Why? Because I have data I can reflect back on and say, well, yeah, Clay, I know the voices in your mind are trying to block out the 85% of times where it happens, and it's just trying to confirm your little victim card bias of, always happens to me, but that happens to you 15% of the time. So that's why you've got to be tracking stuff. If you find yourself saying, well, I don't know, is that confirmation bias, or are my thoughts valid, or are my thoughts misleading you? Because sometimes your thoughts and instincts, they're totally not misleading you. They're telling you exactly what you need to do. but you also have these mind games that pop up where your mind is misleading you. So in other words, the mind, your thoughts, you can't really trust them. Well, then how do you determine, am I misleading or are these good thoughts? So misleading thoughts versus good thoughts. How do you balance that out? Again, that's where data comes into play. And you've got to have that data so that you don't let confirmation bias spin into recency effect, which spins into trading scared, second guessing yourself, missing out on opportunities. And then you find yourself just completely disoriented because you don't really know what's going on because you don't have any data to structure you. And that is the truth of trading, is you've got to be able to distinguish between misleading thoughts and quality thoughts. And this trade here is just a small little example of one of the many instances that can happen in trading. But I just like this one in a sick and twisted way because I think it illustrates, and most people can relate to it, where we say, no, I'm not going to take that trade because I know as soon as I get in, the price is going to go down. Or as soon as I go short, the price is going to explode upwards. And it's like, are you sure, or is that confirmation bias? And you've got to be able to distinguish that. But like I said, trading is hard. That's the truth of it. But you can make sense of it. You can start to make things more black and white. But that's the key. You got to separate the gray, make it black and white. And that's why data is so important. So again, I'll put a link down below to that video. I'll also put a link down below to TraderView, which is a fantastic platform. And you can see more about how that platform operates in the other video if you wanted to go and see that. But at the end of the day, you gotta have data. With data, you're gonna be able to fight against confirmation bias, you're gonna be able to fight against the recency effect, and a host of other psychological games that the mind will play on us as day traders. And if you have any experience, you know that you can read cash flow statements, understand charts, you can know all sorts of things. But if you don't understand your emotions, if you don't understand your mind, none of that other stuff really matters at all. So definitely, if you have not yet, start to collect data, use TraderView, use a spreadsheet. You gotta collect data. So I hope this helps. I hope learning at my expense with that losing trade illustrates something that you are now aware of, or maybe just needed a reminder of, and that it can help you in your trading journey. If you have any other questions or anything like that, definitely leave those down in the comment section. If you appreciate me just sharing kind of this embarrassing moment where I was that guy that played at the exact wrong time, hit the like button. Like I said, comment down below if you have any questions.
First off, thanks so much for watching the entire video. Real quick, before you go, I want to invite you to a live webinar, web class, training, workshop, online event, whatever you want to call it, but it will be me live revealing to you what I've discovered that has allowed me to transform myself from being an employee to being my own boss, including how I had only one losing day out of 73 days in total. I'm going to cover 3 keys that have helped me unlock profitable consistency within the markets. The first key is super weird, but in a productive type of way. The second key is super awesome because it quite literally is wired into our DNA as humans, making it very easy to use. But in a cruel way, this becomes a pitfall for many traders. I'll explain it all though, including how to avoid the pitfall that it creates for some. And yeah, the third key, when you hear it, sounds way too good to be true, but it's not, and I'll show you how it all works. Then at the end, I open it up for a question and answer session that is, again, totally live. Even if you can't make the live session, please still sign up as it will be recorded, and you can go back and watch the replay that I will send you. Click the image on the screen or click the link down in the description box so you can get the date and time and claim your spot, which I should note is limited due to the fact that this truly is a live event. If you have any questions, let me know. If not, I'll be seeing you soon.